During the month of September, when summer is beginning to tire in the northern hemisphere, the beauty of spring is taking hold in the southern hemisphere. The islands which make up the small nation of New Zealand lie in the southern hemisphere, 1,200 miles southeast of Australia, at the bottom end of the Pacific Ocean. New Zealand is a unique wonderland of scenery. Beautiful islands of green lowlands, lakes, beaches, and snow-capped mountains. No spot is more than 80 miles from the coast. Vegetation grows lush. Though the entire area of the islands is only about the size of the state of Colorado, New Zealand has almost every type of scenery that the world can offer. The kiwi is the national bird. This nocturnal creature, which has no wings, is indigenous to these islands. The city of Auckland is the gateway to New Zealand. Auckland prides itself as being a city of the sea. It is situated on a narrow isthmus of the North Island. Cool waters of the Tasman Sea blow from the west, and warm winds from the Pacific come from the east. Auckland's charm lies in its subtropical climate. 8 extinct volcanic mounds throughout the city give it a unique landscape. 1/3 of the total population of New Zealand lives in metropolitan Auckland. Fine old architecture is retained in some parts of the city, preserving an atmosphere and character of the early settlers. A Polynesian people known as Maoris first occupied the islands. Cultural centers preserve some of the Maori artifacts of the past years. Of the 3 million people living in New Zealand, 250,000 are of Maori descent. They maintain a distinct Polynesian language, culture, and lifestyle, yet fuse into the surrounding English society. The government, a constitutional monarchy, provides a good educational system. Early in the morning, the streets are filled with students in uniform. Advanced study is available at the 6 universities and 9 teachers' colleges throughout the islands. New Zealanders have a high standard of living. 70% own their homes. Along the sidewalks in front of each house is a uniquely designed yard utility. A little shelter accommodates the morning milk delivery from the back. The mail is placed in the front section. The daily paper rolls into the top opening, and the house number hangs on the side. The economy of these geographically isolated islands is dependent upon agriculture. 1/3 of the country is devoted to pasture and crops. Farms range from small holdings to large ranches with thousands of acres. New Zealand has 9 million head of cattle. 60 million sheep make it the second largest sheep-producing country in the world. There are 25 animals for every person living in New Zealand. Snow-crowned mountains, fjords, and glaciers bring a sensational splendor to the South Island. The long chain of southern Alps has 53 peaks over 9,000 feet, and many of them have snow the year round. The largest city on the South Island is Christchurch, well known to Americans as the staging base for the United States Navy's Operation Deep Freeze in the Antarctic. Christchurch lies on the verge of the rich Canterbury Plains, the chief grain-growing region in New Zealand. The calm, picturesque harbor for Christchurch lies at Lyttelton and is reached from the city by tunnels cut through the hills that separate the city from the harbor. Christchurch is built on the River Avon. Though 600 miles closer to the Antarctic, temperatures, except in midwinter, are seldom colder than in Auckland. A friendly intimacy marks the leading cities. Clean, open, and uncrowded, they abound with unusual public and private gardens. The Anglican Cathedral dominates the main center of Christchurch. The major Christian religions in the various parts of the country reflect the faiths of the early colonists and missionaries. The first conference of Seventh-day Adventists in New Zealand was organized in Auckland in 1889 with 155 members. From this early beginning, the church has expanded to 2 conferences with a membership of nearly 9,000. 7,000 of these members are in the North Island Conference. Present offices are at a prominent location. The Book and Bible House is on the street level with displays that attract passing shoppers. The work for the 2,000 members in the South Island is administered from the offices in Christchurch. Each conference operates a home for senior citizens. Both restrict the available occupancy so an atmosphere of love and personal attentions can be maintained. Many New Zealand children attend private schools. The Seventh-day Adventist Church operates 16 elementary schools. A social studies class in Christchurch found the subject of the North American Indians so fascinating they used it for a special project. Longburn College, located in the southern part of the North Island, was established in 1908 and moved to its present site in 1913. The enrollment includes 100 secondary and 60 college students. The college offers training in secretarial science, building construction, teacher education, and accounting. The Ponsonby Church, located in the old original part of Auckland, was one of the first Seventh-day Adventist churches built in the Southern Hemisphere. In 1891, Mrs. E.G. White spoke here. 2 years later, on another visit to New Zealand, she wrote several chapters of The Desire of Ages. During that same year, 1893, Mrs. White urged church leaders in Australia to establish health food industries. From the continent, the industry spread to New Zealand in 1900. Today, 3 large factories in these islands produce thousands of tons of breakfast cereals, protein, and natural foods. Marketing of the products is done through 18 retail stores in the main cities and to grocery stores throughout New Zealand from 12 distribution depots. Bert White manages the 3 retail stores in Christchurch.
Health food is food as God gave it to us. Clean, fresh, and top quality.
The Sanitarium Health Food Company has captured 80% of the New Zealand market for breakfast cereals. Gertrude Townend has been a Seventh-day Adventist in New Zealand for 60 years, a widow for 30. She well remembers the years of struggle when she and her husband accepted the Sabbath message. The first pay they tithed was 32 shillings and 6 pence, about 4.5 United States dollars. But says Gertrude, the only ones who ever knew our financial problems were our children and God.
And the Lord's been good to us all through our lives. He has. Well, it's pretty good to think I had 6 children, and they're all in the truth, isn't it?
Melanie Shearer is 4. Melanie lives on a 1,500-acre ranch 35 miles north of Christchurch. Her parents, brother, and 2 sisters belong to one of the 6 Seventh-day Adventist churches in Christchurch. Melanie's father, John, and his brother operate 2 farms 65 miles apart. They commute by private plane. On the 2 ranches, they have 4,500 sheep, 1,800 head of cattle, and 11,000 chickens. Melanie's oldest sister, Andrea, is 12. Early each morning, Andrea goes by bus into Christchurch to attend church school, and it is near dark before she gets back home in the evening. During sheep shearing time, men under contract for the job normally work every day of the week. But at the Shearer Ranch, the crew knows that they must leave by 4 o'clock Friday afternoon and not return until Sunday. John says,
My wife and children, we're stuck out in this part of the world, and we can only hope that the part that we do will hasten the Lord's coming.
New Zealand Seventh-day Adventists send their love through music from the Palmerston North Church. This is Mission Spotlight.